Welcome back, everyone. The World's 2025 quarterfinals just wrapped up today, and we got both semifinals taking place immediately after this weekend. So I'm going to react to all four of the best fives that took place over the last 4 days, and then also predict the semifinals, because there's not really any point in me making two videos now, is there? Now, for those who are here to, laugh at me, berate me, insult me about a certain one of these series, we'll get there. I get it. I got 3 other series to cover before that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first series taking place on Tuesday was Gen.G versus HLE. So, we'll kind of just go through game by game, get a little more detail because it's the best 5. So game 1, we had Gen.G on the Aatrox, Wukong, Ryze, Ezreal, Nico versus Rek'Sai, Sejuani, Talia, Corki, Pantheon. This was a slow game, but Kiin was taking some names in the mid game. It was a good game regardless. Pantheon support looked like crap early, to be honest. And realistically, this was a comp that Gen.G has just played a bajillion times. It looked like they were super comfortable on it, but this was a close game. This was an entertaining game. The first 2 games of the series were unbelievable. It was even at 21 minutes. Duro was looking fantastic with the Pop Blossoms on the Nico, looking like a massive power pick that we kind of knew it already was. But regardless, both teams swinging haymakers back and forth. Super, super close. Just fantastic stuff all around. Ruler was playing out of his mind as well this game, especially that fight near the Dragon Pit. Yeah, and then this game unfortunately ended with Zeus just kind of he kind of ran it a little bit, didn't he? And Duro just closed it out with another great Pop Blossom. This game was super fun to watch. Close fights, pretty back and forth. But speaking of back and forth, let's get into game 2. Switch my notes here, really official, all that stuff. We had HLE on the Mbessa, Zinzao, Azir, Ziggs, Poppy versus Gwen, Jafer, Orianna, Varus, Nautilus. I thought this was a great draft for HLE. But this game, 55-minute plus banger, obviously. Amazing team fights through and through, literally back and forth. This team wins one, that team wins one. This team win one, that team win one. Trading objectives. HLE ended up getting the Dragon Soul this game, but it was they had 4 Cloud Drakes and Cloud Soul. And if it was probably any other soul, they win this game 10 minutes earlier. But it wasn't. We're talking multiple Elders, super close macro, full builds all over the place. This Viper guy was a monster on the Ziggs. I mean, just an absolute terror. It felt like Ruler was just not having that same impact on this lethality Varus as things got later and later and later. But still, we also had unbelievable Orianna ult by Chovy in the base, like to stop the game from ending. And he just looked cool as a cucumber doing it. He was absolutely locked in. And you would have believed this was game 5 of the World Finals. And this could have been the World Finals. Power rankings wise, this was the World Finals. Like we talked about in the predictions, the winner of this series probably wins Worlds. And I hold probably still true on that. But yeah, literally all these fights are back for. I got notes everywhere here. Zeka's getting picks. HLE's getting Barons. Gen.G's getting Barons. Both junglers are dead. Baron at 48 minutes. Crazy stuff. But what it came down to, Viper throws out his Ziggs ult. Both Ruler and Chovy with spell shields up just eat it. And after that, because if there's no spell shields, I mean, they're probably chunked what? 35 to 50% of their health immediately. And they take no damage. And you could tell in the fight, it just wasn't the same. Gen.G finally closes it out after trying to even base race. But then they just catch Peanut. It's rough. Peanut had some rough deaths this series. They literally just catch him out in mid. And that was it. That was the game. And poor Viper, a massive performance. I think he died right at the end, but he was a complete monster in this game. He just got, let down, unfortunately. And it's 2-0 Gen.G somehow with how close these games have been. Game 3, love the Blitz ban. This is Rumble, Trundle, Yone, Sivir, Rakan for HLE, and Sion, Skarner, Victor, Kai'Sa, Bard for Gen.G. It's a bit of a draft mountain, I thought. But in the end, it was really hard for this Victor and Kai'Sa to play the game, I think. This was just Zeka, Yone Masterclass. He looked amazing on the pick. This was a solid HLE looking good all the way through. Canyon also had a crazy play with the Herald where he drove into the wall and literally killed himself and his whole team. That was kind of wild. But it was like 12-5 at 23 minutes. Viper was looking just immaculate. And they just close out this game. simple, much more decisive than, the first game of the series. But regardless of that, it's 2-1 in the series. We go to game 4. Hi, it's me. I edited this in because of background noise. Let's get into game 4 again. Second time for me, first time for you. Gen.G on the ksante, Nidalee, Hwei, Yunara, Alistar versus Camille, Nocturne, Aurora, Smolder, Leona. I didn't like this draft from HLE. Personally, I did not like Ruler being on Yunara. He did not need a power pick when I think he was getting a little outclassed in this series. At least Viper was playing like an absolute monster. But either way, Kiin Sante was out in full force. Canyon, like crazy 80% win rate. Nidalee out in force. This was a game that it's kind of the reverse of game 3. Gen.G just looked in control. It was never particularly close. They kind of put their foot down and said, hey, if you wanted to win this, you had to take one of game 1 or 2. And it showed. They closed it out 3-1. Also, shout out Duro getting the redemption kill onto Zeka. That was pretty funny. We love Battle Alistar launching nukes across the map. But that wraps it up. 3-1 to Gen.G. Unfortunate that this is the last game we will see Peanut play professionally. Chronicler as well, retiring from casting the LCK. Also sad, but Peanut, legendary career, stole my name. Keep it 100 with you, but won't get into that. He's got as many worlds as me. Shame he could not get one done on the last ride. If it was any other year, maybe he could have. This team was definitely good enough, but Gen.G just monsters, not choking, terrifying stuff. And yeah, overall thoughts of the series? All right, overall thoughts, edit, because there's still background noise in my apartment. Fantastic series. Sad to see Peanut go. Sad to see Chronicler go. A shame this couldn't have gone 5 games, but HLE just could not get that game 2 even. It really felt like they should have, but what can you do, man? Gen.G shows that they are on form. I don't know if anyone can really stop them besides plot armor from a certain demonic team. We'll see what happens. Congrats to Gen.G. They moved to semifinals for the 2nd year in a row. HLE, tough draw, man. This probably should have been finals, but what can you do? Let's move on to a maybe not as close series. KT versus CFO. Game by game, we have KT in game 1 on Rumble, Wukong, Talia, Ezreal, Braum versus Ornn, Xin Aurora, Corki, Nami. Did not like the Nami in this game. And CFO just got their ass beat in this game, I'll be honest. Peter kind of had a life series in general, but he's playing Freak Braum. He's just flashing in, flash ults, crazy, just jumping all over the place. Love it. It really never felt like this one was close, man. Doggo does kind of freak it on the Corki at one point. Really good plan to duck Dom to get a pick, but like outside of that, this game was a stomp. It really, in terms of just a series overall, almost every game was kind of the same way, where it felt like CFO could kind of do something, but they couldn't. Regardless, KT gets steamrolled. What KT did, steamrolls CFO in game 1. Game 2, CFO gets Ksante, Trundle, Azir, Kai'Sa, Rakan versus Renekton, J4, Orianna, Sivir, Nautilus. And will CFO beat the Cyan allegations? No, they did not. It was like 2K up for KT at 10 minutes. Just brutal. They looked on a entirely different level than CFO, which I did not expect. I thought this would be a lot closer, but it really shows that consistency, that macro understanding of the game. And if Doggo's not hard carrying, if Gen.G is not hard carrying, the difference is it far exceeds anything that CFO is going to really be able to deal with. And it's just a stomp. It's brutal. It's 2-0 in the series already, like it didn't even happen. Game 3, KT gets Sion, Viego, Zoe, Ziggs, Alistar versus Rek'Sai, Skarner, Hwei, Caitlyn, Bard. Yeah, love the Zoe, I guess. BDD's a great Zoe, though. I don't like the champion personally, but in the end, look who they're playing against. It looks like KT. Are they going undefeated? I think so. Come on, 13-0 worlds. Give it to me, KT. World Championships? No, probably not. But either way, this game, again, it was just brutal. Ziggs was up like 1k gold at like 10 minutes again. It just wasn't close. Let's get in. It's a 3-0. KT just brutalizes CFO. There's not much to talk about here. CFO just didn't look like they had what it took to be on the stage with them. FlyQuest, I think, would have put up a better fight. I think FlyQuest could have won this series, but regardless, it is what it is. Good try from CFO. Congrats to them for making quarterfinals, of course. Congrats to KT. They move on to semifinals and place higher at Worlds and HLE. Obviously, that's, deserved. Love this format. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, the Oysters, they got their shells battered in brutally by KT. There's not much more to talk about with that one. So let's move on to our third quarterfinal, which was G2 versus TES. So game one, we had TES on the Mbessa Wukong Akali Varus Braum versus ksante Xin Orianna Corki Rel, and G2 got brutalized in this game. Cream on the Akali was magnificent. He just looked absolutely fantastic. And the only hope G2 had in this game was the Caps 4-man Orianna in the mid lane, but it just simply wasn't enough. TS ran this game. The dive was just brutally this Mbessa Wukong Akali just getting in there, causing havoc, solo kills onto Caps from Cream, a complete masterclass overall. And the other issue I saw was TS was also out macroing G2 in these games, especially this one. It looked different than I would be used to. This is not what I expect out of TES because I expect them to choke brutally, to be honest. And yeah, rough one for G2. 2024 G2 might even win this one. It's unfortunate the draw they got last year because I think this team is not as good as last year's G2. But hey, congrats on, quarterfinals, I guess. I'm writing their obituary already because honestly. All right, so getting into game two. TES got Rumble, Qiyana, Yone, Sivir, Alistar versus Galio, Mundo, Ryze, Lucian, Bard. Um, this was rough, man. This was a huge dive comp again for TS. I thought this game was like not even gonna be close. I did not like the Hansama Lucian. I did not like just how this game was set up in general. The Qiyana for Kanavi is terrifying. But yeah, G2 actually ended up winning this game. They looked much better in the early game. Shout out the casters calling Caps craps mid game. That fantastic stuff. Really, who doesn't love that? This was a rough game for JackeyLove though. He was getting his ass beat in the bot lane. This was a terrible game to be a Sivir. Hansama was absolutely showing up. We had Labrov playing vegan Bard, just hitting no ultimates ever for some reason, just hitting crazy Qs to make up for the fact that he clearly doesn't know how to use Bard ultimate. Yeah, this was, I mean, it was even for a while, but G2 just started picking off everyone in the mid game and they picked this game up. It was really good for them to beat this Qiyana. I was like, all right, this is it. Game one was, a fluke. We're back. G2 is, going all the ways. And I was not particularly correct as we move into game three. TS on the Aatrox, Trundle, Hui, Ezreal, Karma versus Renekton, Ivern, Silas, Kate Thresh. This was a terrible draft. This was an abomination of a draft from G2. This Silas literally has 0 ults to take that are good, and I mean 0. It's terrible. There's like no engage. What is the point of this Thresh? What is the point of this Ivern? He has doesn't really have the best dive targets to put his shields on. I hated this overall. It wasn't the best Trundle game either for TS, but whatever. This was like a 1-1 game at 19 minutes as well. And then TS just out macros G2, gets the Otacon, and then blah, 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 blah. 369. Aatrox rips G2 to shreds by the dragon, a tale as old as time at Worlds. And just like that, G2 is on their last legs 2-1 to TS. There's not much to break down. It literally was just close. G2 takes like one bad fight, and the game just blows up, which is a theme in these last two games, unfortunately. Game 4, G2 on the Ornn, Poppy, Syndra, Draven, Nico versus Gnar, Naafiri, Victor, Xayah, Rakan. JackeyLove on the Xayah. We love to see it. Love to see it. Draven, Syndra was definitely a choice. I didn't like many of the Syndra games we've seen in these last 2 days, but this game, it's another story like last. It was close until it wasn't. They just took a 5v5 when everyone on their team was like missing 30% of their HP, got crushed, and that was it. They lost another 2 fights after that and simply just lost this game, plain and simple. It wasn't particularly close in my opinion. TS was just better. They most certainly did not choke, but now you have a job to do, TS. This 3-1 victory comes at a cost. You have a job to, get revenge for your countrymen. And let's get into that because that's, the real series here. Overall thoughts on this one? Sucks to be G2, man. TS was the better team. It is what it is. What can you do about it? Nothing. You can't do anything about it. Anyone's Legend versus T1. let's go game by game first. First game, I'm just going to kind of talk through it. I don't need to go through all the drafts. I also just was busy during this game, so I didn't write down the draft. Oops. T1, pretty methodical. They take this game pretty simple. Nothing special. They looked good. AL, I was scared. I was like, oh god, here it's gonna be a 3-0. AL just not showing up at all. Boy, was I wrong. Game 2, AL on the Ambessa Wukong Galio Sivir Poppy versus Rumble Zin. Anivia Draven Nautilus. This Anivia champion needs to not get picked. It looked like garbage. This Faker might as well have not been connected. On top of him just like TPing in and killing himself multiple times. Terrible champion. Don't pick it. It sucks. Like, I don't care who's telling. Oh, it's really no. This champ is terrible. It doesn't do anything if you can't play it well, and no one can play it well. It doesn't fit well into anything. AL just ran this game. They look super strong. T1 did some of their typical bullshit and got, random aces because, of course, why wouldn't they? But I have this note here. Faker, that boy's an inter because him and Doran just both TP in and die. That snowballs into AL just winning this game. It's 1-1 in the series. That Anivia was a complete embarrassment to all bird champions. So, game 3, T1 ksante Vi Silas Ziggs Blitz versus Aurora J4 Yeonjin Bard. I was thinking it was Rip Carey's pool at this point, man. I was really confident that AO, they had a good draft strategy going into this. Really taking away as many T1 champions as possible to get into these later games. And they ended up winning this game. AL getting Mountain Soul. They looked a lot stronger. It was a scrappy early game into a slow mid game, but AL just came out on top of this one. They were looking super, super good. I really liked what they were doing. The Yone looked amazing. Shanks played crazy good this game. I loved it. And yeah, AL also flipped the Elder, and we'll get to Elder flips later, but yeah. They take this one. It's 2-1 up in the series, and I'm thinking just close it out in game 4, man. I don't have the strength to really break down all these games like this. They lost game 4. The LeBlanc looked awesome. The Mordekaiser was a monster from Flandre, but it just wasn't enough. This Corki did nothing, absolutely nothing. The Nico from Keria wasn't even like that amazing, but yeah. Ale shouldn't have probably won this game anyways because they were behind. Bring it all the way back, kind of fall behind again, bring it all the way back. And then they couldn't do enough damage in the fights. I mean, eventually Doran kind of got outscaled, stopped being able to just face tank 3 people at once, and it was over. We go to game 5. In game 5, what a game. What a series. AL on the Aatrox, Sejuani, Syndra, Jinx, Lulu versus Renekton, Mundo, Mel, Ashe, Seraphine. This Ashe terrified me. It's not the reason they won this game. Obviously, T1 took game 5. It's tough, man. I thought AL had him. I thought they had him. Faker's on Uncomfy Champions. Keria's on Seraphine. He'd had this troll Seraphine ult by one of the dragons, but it feels like a tale's oldest time. T1 just in games they doesn't feel like they should win, just somehow gets all these objectives. They get Soul and 4 Drakes. They win this Elder fight, and it's like AL still winning fights after T1 gets Hex Soul, but it just doesn't feel like enough. And in the end, it wasn't. T1 just wins the fights they have to. It feels like literal magic. 369, not 369. Flandre had to just get caught in that last fight on the Aatrox. They could have just taken it straight up and they probably win that game. But the LPL just falls again to T1. My overall thoughts is that I'm sad. I wanted AL to win this very, very badly, and they did not. And that makes me sad. We were close, man. T1 lives another 2 days. They'll move on to face TES. We'll see, man. We'll see. It's tough. Almost cried at my desk at work. I'm not gonna lie. Felt like last year watching those finals. It was a day ruined, or at least a few hours ruined. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm sad. Shanks played really well. Flandre, all of AL played really well. They're 1 fight away, but T1 clutch just... It happens again, man. They were misplaying bad in game 5 too. They really were. And they just find a way to win. I'm happy I get to see it happen. It's amazing to watch them do it. I also just hate watching them do it because I don't like them. But anyways, let's get into the first semifinal because we're getting right into it. We're, reactions and predictions all in one video. Like, comment, subscribe. Because I forgot to say it earlier. Let's get into the first one. Gen.G versus KTRolster. Get in. Oh, you can't really see. You kind of get the idea. It's over. Your time has come, KT. But now let's get into it for real. Obviously, Gen.G versus KT. Here's your history of their matches. Let's get right into some key factors for these two teams. KT low-key did beat them in a best of 5. This is true. KT, the only other team to beat Gen.G all year since winter. Beat them in a 5-game series. I don't know, man. This Gen.G just looks so good. KT looked good against CFO, but they should look good against CFO. CFO needs pop-offs to win, and that just didn't happen. KT played well. Gen.G, I don't know how they can lose in this current form besides to literal devil magic at this point, and we'll get into that later. Another key factor is that Gen.G just looks so good against Hanwha, man. They beat the second best team at the tournament. There were some close games, but the fact that they didn't choke those games, they were so controlled and just they stayed calm. They looked like the team that we've seen all year that's been winning everything. I don't know how to say it any different than I don't know what KT does. KT needs to literally play the best game they've ever played to beat this Gen.G. And even then, I don't know if that's enough. Gen.G just looks locked in. I think they are absolutely destined for the World Finals. I think they picked this one up 3-0. There is nowhere that KT is better, in my opinion. Like, not even particularly. The closest is probably mid, just because BDD is a really good player. But this Chovy, Peanut said it best in the quarterfinal lead up. Current Chovy has no weaknesses. Champ pool, laning, team fighting, game sense. Everything is just amazing about Chovy in this team. And I think it's finally time we see Gen.G in the World Finals. And I think it's going to happen. I think it's 3-0. I don't even think there's that much to talk about, really. KT needs to bring their absolute S+ tier game. And I think Gen.G's like A tier still calmly beats that. Unlucky for KTRolster, but at least HLE will feel good that they'll probably get the same amount of semifinals wins as KT. There's just not a lot to break down with this one. I feel like, how could you ever pick KT, realistically? I'm not. So let's move on to the next one. I got this one 3-0 for Gen.G. Semifinal number 2, T1 versus Top Esports. Here's your match history. Both these teams coming out in round 5 of the Swiss stage with relatively similar kind of strengths of schedules. TS did win more comfortably in quarterfinals, of course, but I think they were playing definitely a worse team in G2 than anyone's legend. Let's get into some key factors here. TS will only win when it hurts me. They will win if it's beating a Western team. They'll reverse sweep Fnatic, which I thought was kind of funny, to be fair. In general, it's fun to hate Fnatic for whatever reason. That was a long time ago, though. I like their players, but they will not win this game. They will not do it in a way that helps me. It's literally like the most clutch team ever versus the least clutch team ever. Probably the least clutch team ever, I think. TS just, I don't trust them. I don't trust them to do what I expect them to do. To be fair, I expect them to lose, so maybe it's like reverse psychology. I'm pulling out all the stops. I want T1 to lose more than anyone, I promise. And I literally have like no notes on this because I wrote them right after the AL game and I was kind of butthurt. The third key factor is that Satan is real. I mean, there's no real other explanation for T1 being this good. There just isn't. It's not fair, man. I think T1 takes this 3-0. I just think in current form, AL took them to 5 games. I think AL was built for that. They looked better at this tournament. TS did not look that good at this tournament. They dropped games to goofy-ass G2 drafts. I think T1's just going to lock in. They are not going out in semifinals to this team. Maybe TS gets a game, but it'll be like a sad, like a game 3. They're already getting swept. They pick one up. They've got good players, but AL was the team the LPL needed. I'm happy the LPL is going to get one of their teams in semis at least. God, I hope they win. It would be so funny. But I don't see it, man. I just don't see it. T1 is destined for the finals. We are destined for, in my opinion, probably the most anticipated World Finals ever. For that reason, I do hope T1 kind of wins. It'd be really funny if they lost, but for the sake of the World Finals hype, I don't think I could be any more gut-wrenchingly excited for a match than Gen.G versus T1 World Finals. We'll see if TS can do something. 369 has looked like a monster this tournament. Cream looked really good in the last series, to be fair. There are holes in T1's game. AL, if nothing else, showed that champ pool can be exploited. You can get T1 on these uncomfortable champions. Keria's pool can run out. You can get Faker on these Mels, these Victors, on these Yones. We'll see, man. I think T1 still gets it 3-0. I don't even think there will be hope in this match. I just don't feel it happening. 3-0 T1. And with that wraps up this kind of marathon of a video. Please like, comment, subscribe. These games, obviously, if you don't know, they take place literally like tomorrow and the next day. Semifinals, same stadium, right into it. Don't know why it's scheduled like that. I'm not the biggest fan, but it is what it is. Hope you enjoyed the quarterfinals. I know I did. We had some great series, and really only one series that was kind of a stinker, and it was the one you'd probably expect to be. Good luck to all 4 teams. Sort of. Really only good luck to anyone but T1. That's all I'm going to say. Been rambling forever. Hope you guys liked it. Sorry for the jump cuts. There's a vacuum in my house. What can you do? See ya.